Hello everybody and welcome to episode 15 of Weird Mind Newsroom. Now, we're about to set sail on all the new content that has come out this week, including a lot of new releases, which I'm going to do a lightning round on, a few trailers, as well as a good bit of news stories this week. So, let's find the X in the spot and set sail for all those new announcements then. And let's get right into it then, shall we?
The One Piece is real!
So as mentioned in the previous section, or the introduction, I'm going to do a quick fire round for this week because there are 10 pieces of media I want to get through, and there's a lot. So, we'll start with the big release movie of this week, and this is with the third entry in the Equalizer trilogy that will see the character of former assassin Robert McCall, played by Denzel Washington, retiring to a peaceful life in southern Italy. But soon that peace is shattered when he discovers the populace is under the control of the iron grip of the mafia, and he will have to bring the peace and justice one last time in his own unique way. Now, the reception initially was a little mixed when I first saw it earlier in the week, and around the same percentage as the second movie in the franchise, but has since improved to where it is now the best in the series. And if you want to check out the conclusion of this series, then you can check it out now in cinemas. But if it's action not much of your interest and want more of a spooky vibe, then I would suggest the new release of the movie of Cobweb. This follows a young child named Peter who is haunted by the sound of a constant tapping on his walls at night that somehow ends up neglectful parents thinks he's imagining things. Something like that. But when things become real and more terrifying, he starts to believe his parents may be hiding a very dark secret. Now, reception for this is in the sort of mixed category. It's still it's on the leaning on the fresh rating in Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm sure it's not too much of a harmful horror, and there could be something good in these sort of horrors that might have a unique concept and not part of a series. Usually whenever a trailer, something looks decent, sometimes it might be good. So it'll have to be worth a watch when it releases this week. But now for a film that is released closer to home, and this is with the comedy of Apocalypse Clown. This film is set in Ireland and set during a sudden solar flare that knocks out all the use of technology and energy in the world and plunges the world into absolute chaos and anarchy. This soon sees a troupe of failed clowns go on a cross-country journey for self-discovery and to help bring joy back to the people when everything is in complete chaos. Now, this sounds like a weird concept for sure, but what I've seen from the early reviews, it seems to be really well received. Not much unknown by the audience scores, but from the critic side of things, it's sitting with a 90%, but that's only for like 15, 16 reviews. Whether or not this will get a big release in the US is by any means, but we'll have to see how it turns out. And I've heard a lot of good, hilarious comedy in this, so maybe worth a watch. Who knows? I might give it a look. Now, the last movie that's coming out this week is one that's had a bit of this talking point over the course of the last couple of weeks, as a release in the US back in early July. This is the movie of The Sound of Freedom. This film tells the true story of Homeland Security agent Jim Ballard, who went on a mission beyond his career and traveled across the world to save a pair of children who have become part of a sex trafficking case. Now, when he rescues the small child boy, he basically is promised the kid that he will find his sister by any means necessary, and soon creates the whole thing of Operation Triple Tap in order to basically help rescue hundreds of kids that have been sold into trafficking. Now, initially, I was going to go in depth about this movie in a way, but what I've seen online is there's a whole conspiracy to this movie. There's like the main lead is supposedly known as a bit of a QAnon conspirator. Basically, it's by a religious group, all sort of stuff. One of the vendors who basically financed this movie was arrested for child trafficking and all sort of stuff. Initially, the reception was decent. The audience score is apparently really strong, but I do get the idea of it. The message is good there because you have to bring out the point. A lot of audiences don't kind of overlook about the case that to this day, a lot of child kidnapping and sold into the sex trafficking ring is a thing. So it is worth a message, but I've seen the kind of a bit mix about the rest of the concept of the story, kind of an over fictionalized version of the true story, but I'm not going to go too much into it because I know a case leading down a rabbit hole, but maybe down the line I might talk about it. I don't know. But if you want to check it out, it's available now in cinemas, so there's something like that. But now for the TV shows of this week, and we have 3 of them in particular. We're going to head over first to the streaming giant of Netflix, as they've now made an attempt at another anime adaptation, and this time it is with the live-action adaptation of One Piece. Now, to give some clarification on what the anime is about, it's about a character named Monkey D. Luffy, who gathers a crew of colourful characters of, a pirate crew, as they set off on the high seas of adventure in a fantastical world in search of the world's ultimate treasure, because the One Piece is real, and an ultimate quest to become the Pirate King. Now, most adaptations of anime from Netflix tend to be bad. See case in point, Death Note, Cowboy Bebop, and Full Metal Alchemist. But the initial rumors of this series also coming out as really bad, but has now been shown to be actually really well received, both on critics and audience side. It's now the best reviewed anime on Netflix, so if you want to check it out, the full season is now available since Friday on Netflix. And now staying with Netflix, we're actually going with more of an animated approach with the final season of the Matt Groening series of Disenchantment. Now this season we'll see Bean, Elfo, and Lucy teaming up with the creatures of Dreamland to save the kingdom and its inhabitants and essentially the world from total destruction from the hands of her evil mother, Queen Dagmar. Now this series has always been more on the weakest of the three shows of Groening compared to the never-ending series of Simpsons, which I think is going to like season 35? I don't know. As well as the much-loved Futurama, which also has a new episode out this week as well, from a reboot. The final season I've seen has been a bit mixed, but I seem to be a bit more in favour of it, and you can check out the full series and how it ends when you can watch it now on Netflix. And to conclude the newly released seasons of this week, we are now heading over instead to Amazon Prime for the release of the second season of Wheel of Time. Now the basic story of Wheel of Time sees a member of a magical organisation known as Morian take 5 young people on a journey to discover if one of them is the prophesized person known as the Dragon, who may save the world or destroy it with their ultimate power. Now, the reception for the second season has also been very strong, as well as the first season, and I need to give this a look into when I have the chance and I can fix Prime, but you can check out the full season now on Amazon Prime. And now next, it's party time, as everyone's favorite party animal Amigo is back after a long hiatus with an all-new return to Samba de Amigo with Samba de Amigo Party Central, as you plays the music of the maracas to learn some Latin American music genre as well as some more modern day genres of music too. They'll have you moving to the groove. Now, the reception has been decently received from what I've seen online. In most cases, there will probably be more games and songs released to it. If I do some like free DLC stuff, like kind of thing, or do like a subscription thing, like Just Dance is doing. But you can check it out. The game now, as is available now on the go with a Nintendo Switch. You can play it on your Apple Arcade, and will be coming soon to VR. And then to finally end with the final release of this week is with some DLC content, as we have gotten the third part to the season pass of the Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope game. That will see Rabbid Peach and Rabbid Mario be invited to take part, and also soon stop the Maestro Rabbid Ghost and his Phantom Show. But they're not doing it alone, of course, because we're going to talk about the big aspect of this content release, and that is the final return for the first time in about 10 years, Rayman, the Limitless Hero. Yes, this is Rayman and the Phantom Show, the third part of the conclusion to the Mario & Rabbids DLC. Now, whether there's going to be more, I have no idea. Reception for this has been decently received. Some feel that they could have used it more, bring them into the main game and stuff like that, but hopefully this will see a return of Rayman in his own new game, or even maybe a new Rabbids game, where it's just like Rayman Raven Rabbids return again. But please, I'm just begging, can we just have a sequel to Rayman Legends, please? I'm desperate for one. It's been 10 years. Please give me one, please. But I will play in this when I get the chance, and hopefully more of this as well when the DLC is available to play on Nintendo Switch once you have Mario & Rabbids Spark of Hope. And that is all the new releases for this week.
Like I'm the man behind the slaughter, dude.
Now I'm going to slow down this section because there's not much trailers this week. But let's start with the first one that came to us from director Michael Mann with his newest movie biopic based on Ferrari. Now this will tell the tale of mogul Enzo Ferrari and how he created the age of the Italian sports car and basically led to the formation of the Formula One racing series. Now, will I say this one thing? This is how you do a teaser trailer, where you show some aspects of it but don't give the entire plot away, and you show snippets. You show the idea, you show the man, and you show all the things. And if you told me that this was Adam Driver playing the main lead, I would have not believed you, because he's uncanny looking to the man himself. Now, I've seen reception so far, as it has been premiering at the film festival this week, Venice, I think that's this week, and it has been decently received. I think it's in the high 70s, so I will definitely be checking this out, as this film releases on Boxing Day of this year. Now, I have one question for you. Are you ready for Freddy? Yes, out of completely nowhere last week, we got the official final trailer for the upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, this will, of course, see the new security guard getting a job to watch over the old abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and soon realize that this job is not going to be easy, and he will have to survive for his life throughout the night from these haunted animatronics. Now, I like that they're being very vague with all these trailers, of course, because like it's a case that, you know, sometimes trailers can basically tell you the entire plot in like 3 minutes. I don't know, you can give some aspects, but, you know, at least give an aspect to it. But it still looks great. And I have to just give props to Jim Henson Studios for the absolute beauty that is the animatronic designs. Now, it also seems to be the case they've listened to the fan reactions. Well, mainly, I'm guessing more of the newer audience where they were complaining about the red eyes, because now the red eyes are gone. I think since the second trailer, but I'm guessing that was just a teaser concept. Who knows? There might be still the red eyes in it. I have no idea. And the 4 characters of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and even the Cupcake look great. Unsure about one particular character they showed at the end of the trailer, but that's just my vague interpretation for it. They probably will show it better once you get a full HD version when the film releases. But we don't have to wait long for this as well, as Freddy's is open for business when this releases just in time for Halloween on October 27th. Now this one is quite lengthy. I was going to do in the news, but you know, I might delve into it if I have the time. But earlier this week, on Thursday, we got the official full-length 15-minute presentation of the Nintendo Direct focused on the all-new Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now, this game will see you take on the role of nearly 12 different characters, the biggest for any Mario 2D series. You could play as Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Blue Toad, Yellow Toad, Toadette, Green Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, Light Blue Yoshi, and Red Yoshi, as well as Nabbit, as you go on a journey across the Flower Kingdom and restore the land from Bowser, who has used the power of the Wonder Flower to basically turn himself into a castle. Yes, he's basically, you know, he took the middleman out. Instead of having Bowser's castle, he is Bowser's castle. It's a bit of a, you know, he's going to use that power to cause chaos and shit. Now, the worlds look fantastic. The art style looks super great. The new voice for Mario and Luigi in this game is really well done. Like, it is, you can tell it's a bit different, but it's still well done. It's very close to Marinette. As well as the case that, you know, all the new concept with the Wonder Flower, the power-ups of, like, you know, Big Elephant, the Bubble one, and the Drill one is pretty cool. Just all of it is just so great. And I am looking forward to playing this when this game releases on October 20th, in a month of busy-ass games. And for the final trailer for this week, this one is very brief, but we got an indie horror game making a return after 10 years out of the limelight in games, even though they appeared in a news story about a stabbing and then had a really terrible movie about 5 years ago. But we're talking about an update revival to 2013's Slender: The Arrival. Now, not much is shown in this trailer apart from some dude being swarmed by an army of slender men, which sounds very disturbing, and someone should call the authorities, because pretty sure the main character player this is a child, so
FBI, open up!
he could go to jail. But I've seen some of the new updated visuals too as well, but it does look pretty great, and I'm sure I'll be giving a try of this out when it releases on the 18th of October. And with that, of course, that is all the trailers that have came out this week. So I initially had one other concept to start this news section, but I'm going to keep it to my blog because I have a lot to talk about this week. So we're going to start with the story from Disney and the live-action adaptations. Now, also in the case of this, the reason for this story is also the reason I want to do the next long-form video of me rewatching, reviewing, and tier listing the entirety of the live-action remake so far. But anyway, enough on that point. That's coming soon. We're going to talk about a case that we have 2 films coming out next year from Disney in live-action form. We got a live-action prequel to 2018's Lion King that's focused on young Mufasa and Scar, and the one for the reason of this news story, and that is with next year's Snow White remake, starring Rachel Zegler. Now, this film has been in development for a few years now. There's been talks about it. Mark Webb was supposed to do it. I don't know if he still is. And we've been seeing the case of casting, and then questioning whether or not we're going to see the 7 Dwarves, or whatever the case is. And there's also about, you know, Peter Dinklage going against it, and there's also about all these different things. Point is, this movie's been hit with a good bit of controversy for a few different reasons. One's the casting of Snow White, because Rachel Zegler, I think, is Latina, and Snow White's supposed to be someone with skin as white as snow. She's slightly fairer skin. That I can give a pass to. Second was the case where not we're going to see the 7 Dwarves in it, but the case it could be offensive, and then an instance that supposedly they changed it to different magical creatures, which then caused a case that some people in the dwarfism community was like getting left out of work. It's nuts, to to say the least. But basically, all the final stuff then was that one of the sons of the original director to the 1937 animated version basically called it Disney for this woke reboot and for calling out Rachel Zegler, who made some comments about the first movie being problematic. Now, why I'm talking about this is that because of all the strikes as well, there's been rumors circling around since the beginning of this week that the Snow White reboot could be delayed. Reason being is because of last week's delay to Dune. Dune was delayed from November all the way to the 15th of March. And because of this, it would basically put attention to that movie instead of Disney's Snow White reboot. Because they're just wanting money in most cases, I'm thinking. Now, I don't know if I see this actually happening, but most likely I feel like at some point we probably will. But we'll have to see what happens when that news drops. But what are your opinions? Do you think this movie is going to launch, and be good? Do you think it's going to be mirrored by its controversy? And do you feel this will be delayed until when? Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. Now, this little section I wanted to give a little bit of a memoriam to. I believe this was last week, but I forgot to record about it. But yes, we sadly lost another iconic voice role from the comic tales of the Batman animated series, and this was in the form of Arlene Sorkin. Now, she was known for basically the inspiration and the voice behind the popular character of Harley Quinn. And over the years, she has voiced her characters besides the animated series in other things like games like Arkham Asylum and DC Universe Online. But she was also well known for her role in the ABC series of Days of Our Lives beforehand. Now, she sadly passed away earlier at the end of last week at the age of 67 after her battle with multiple sclerosis, and is the second voice actor as well from the series that did pass away following the tragic passing of Kevin Conroy himself in November of last year. And I hope that both of them, especially Arlene, will rest in peace. Now, for just a little bit of an update, we have a new title holder in the domestic and international box office of the year, and everything is looking pink. Yes, Barbie is now officially the highest grossing movie of 2023, the second film to cross $1 billion, and has surpassed the original holder for 4 months, which was the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now, it is helped boosted by the Barbenheimer campaign in the summer season. The marketing to the audience that there was something for those who love and hate Barbie. And also the case as well about the weird obsession that Ben Shapiro has with the film, where supposedly he was standing from the picture sign. He says it's the most woke movie he's ever seen, while wearing the full garb of Ken in the I'm Just Ken music video, basically making free 40-minute videos on it, and then made his entire life and personality around it, calling it woke, when I feel deep down he really did like this movie. And the trend it formed with it. Now, personally, I did enjoy the movie a lot, and I need to get around to writing my review on it and record it with someone special, of course. As I promised them, I will do a review with them. And I'm sure we'll get to it once I have all the other reviews I need to finish as well, because I got a good few to talk about. But what do you think? Do you think that Barbie deserved all this box office success? And do you see any other film for the rest of this year crossing the billion mark? I feel maybe the Marvels might get it. Maybe Five Nights at Freddy's could do it. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let me know what you think down below. Now, this one's also just going to be brief, but this is a follow-up to last week's one with the PlayStation handheld accessory of the PlayStation Portal, as well as a little mention about one other game as well. As mentioned, the Portal got a name revealing last week, as well as a price point of about €220 when it was announced at Gamescom. But now we've gotten sort of an official release date for some of the countries that might be getting it. Not sure about here yet. The Portal was being announced to be releasing on the 15th of November of this year, and is confirmed for the US, UK, France, and Belgium, with pre-orders available since Friday. However, the case of the other countries is unknown. We could still be getting it on the 15th of November, but we'll have to see once the pre-orders for other countries starts going live from the end of this month on September 29th. I'm certain it probably will release here, but I'll have to see how it works out. I probably will give it a try as well. Hopefully, I get a chance to, and I'll give my complete thoughts on it when I have the chance. And there's a little update as well on some other one on everyone's favorite wall crawler. Is now confirmed how much storage size you're going to need as well for the game. Has been confirmed by, I believe, the PlayStation account on PlayStation Australia, or just in a few other PlayStation accounts, that Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 is going to be coming in with a whopping 98 gigabytes installation. So you have some time to think of what games you want to delete off your storage device so you could play the next Spider-Man game. But what are your thoughts on the announcement, and will you be picking up a PlayStation Portal yourself? Let me know on why or why not you are going to down in the comments below, and we'll get to talking about it. Now, this was the second MCU news one I was going to talk about, because the first one's going to be about a book they were releasing in October, but I'm going to keep that to my blog. But this one I'm going to talk about here. A few hours before writing this section initially and recording it, we got an announcement of a few delays with the ongoing writers and actors strikes. This is coming in the form of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Now, it's highlighting some changes around in release dates, some production pauses causing some, and even a name change to particularly one of them. It's kind of a weak, but we'll get to that in a moment. So I'll go in order of the changes or or non-changes. So first of all, the only one that's not affected from these release date changes is Season 2 of Loki. This is still coming out weekly from the 6th of October of this year. The next one that has been delayed, though, is with Echo. It's no longer releasing this November, and instead is coming out some point at the start next year in January of 2024. Now, the reason it's been swapped around is with a different show, in particular the second season to Marvel's What If series. This doesn't have a date yet, but it's been confirmed to be releasing some point in Christmas of this year. So I'm projecting maybe around December or maybe late November. We'll have to see. Another one for animated side of things, we have the upcoming continuation of the 90s X-Men series that has now a release date window of early 2024. My guess, I'm going to say probably about March to Easter of next year. And then the one that we still kind of have a release window date as well, and the one with the name change, is the WandaVision spin-off focused on Agatha Harkness. Now, this new name is, instead of, House of Harkness, Coven of Chaos, it's now Darkhold Diaries, and it's apparently planned for release in the fall of 2024. I'm honestly thinking they should just keep it with Coven of Chaos or House of Harkness, because that was better. But what about the other ones that have been delayed? Well, the three that also have an unknown release date and release window right now is Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Wonder Man. Now, some of these could be further delayed if the strikes continue with no proper deals made for them, but we'll have to see how it all turns out. But what are your thoughts on all of these delays, and do you feel more MCU content or Disney stuff is going to get delayed? I mentioned last week that most likely Disney's probably going to delay some stuff, and I feel it's probably still going to happen, as we mentioned as well earlier with the Snow White reboot. But let me know your opinions down below, and let's discuss on what you think will be delayed. And now, the final story I want to talk about is actually with updates from the front lines of the ongoing strikes. As we are now heading, I think, into the 4th month of the writer's strike, and about 6 weeks into the actor's strike. And now, there's also been rumors as well about a month ago that the visual effects studios are trying to unionize to go on strike as well. But there's one other studio that might also be joining the front lines, and that is with the medium of the video game studios. Now, while you may not think of it as it being as big as films, you'll be surprised that a lot of studios, say like Naughty Dog, Insomniac, 343, Rockstar, and many more, all use the case of writing for their stories, as well as the mocap voice acting roles for all different characters in the shows, or even for like the sports games as well in particular. So whether or not we're going to see them join the front lines is unknown right now. As things stand, the next wave of negotiations are planned for the end of this month. So unless things don't work out, they could be joining by the end of this month. I believe it's the 25th of September. So we will keep an eye on how things work out there, but most likely it could see them, join the front lines. But what do you think of all this news? And do you see the video game companies joining in on the strikes as well and causing a delay to a lot of the video games either this year or the beginning of next year? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And that, of course, is with the end of the news cycle for this week. Oh. Very sorry about that. I was listening to this week's special segment. Now, this one is going to be based on a new debut single from a good friend of mine, who I like to call as Aaron, or his nickname of Woodsy, where himself and his bandmates of the Woodsmen have released just this week their first official single, known as Listen to Me Now, which is a very tasteful, emotionally driven acoustic song with a tone of the folk rock in there that blends together very seamlessly well. Now, I gave it a listen when it first launched there on Friday, and listened to it a few times since then. I have to say, it is a really great song, and I think they have the great potential to be the next big Irish sensation of musicians. Now, if you have the time and want to listen to their new EP, you can listen to the track down below in the description to their Spotify link, and have a listen to it there, or you can listen to it on whatever you like to listen to music on. And I will also say I'll be watching their content with great interest and excitement as well. I'll update when any new release of new songs and music do come out. And I must say, just as a small creator myself, please support them because honestly, they have potential for really great things and they worked hard on it and deserve all the love. And of course as well, if you have any suggestions you want to see released in a special segment that I will do and promote to my small audience, but small but growing audience, let me know in my social feeds as well as on down in the comments if you want anything to talk about, and I will, we can sort things out.
Well, that's about enough light for me for one day. Let me check the time. Yeah, it's about that time.
And with that now, that brings us to the end of what is going to be pretty much a lengthy episode of Weird Mind Newsroom. Sorry if I look completely dazed out of it. I am sweating. It is very warm today. But I hope you enjoy this episode and listen to me chin waggling for probably, I'm going to say nearly like a fucking half hour at this point. Excuse my language. Now, any updates on what's coming along? Well, as I mentioned, I have an idea for my next long form video, which is going to be watching, reviewing, giving opinionated, and then tier listing the entirety of the live action Disney remakes, and then talk about the future ones as well. There's a few I know that's coming out, so about that case. I also have reviews written up for Fast X and about to finish Fast X and The Flash. I want to do some more animated ones, so I have Elemental, I have Ninja Turtles, and I have Puss in Boots that I want to get to as well. I do have one or two other ones as well I need to get around to finishing, but I'm going to get to them when I get to them. Now, if it's a case if there's any sort of movies and shows you want me to talk about, or, as I mentioned, any special segments, you like topic things like, songs or projects they worked on or anything like that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below or just message me on my socials. I'll probably try and even give you a case of, do a little promotion for your stuff. And if you have any bits I can share onto it, I'll gladly do that. But that's where I'm probably going to leave the episode for now. I'm frazzled. I'm going to go just like drown myself in some water right now because I'm sweating. I'm going to leave it there. I like to thank you all for watching. If you like my content, of course, you can like the video below. You can comment all the stuff on discussions of this week. You can share it around to people that may not have seen my content and might be interested and get them to like it as well. And even subscribe if you haven't already. It's a small audience, but I appreciate every single one of you for sticking with me. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there now. And, you stay all being very wonderful people because you are wonderful people and I enjoy seeing all your amazing work every day. You be you, and I will see you all in the next episode. So, see ya.